What's all this commotion? And what is this criminal doing here? He's supposed to be in the dungeons.
I was ordered to escort this prisoner to the Red Keep.
What? I'm the one in charge of these dungeons. If a transfer had been ordered, I'd know about it.
Not this time. This transfer needs to be kept secret. Here's the commander's personal seal. He entrusted me with it for this mission, and I was told to show it to no one but you and the jailers of the Red Keep.
But what about the wages? It was the commander who started it all. What shall we do with all the money?
Not my problem. If I don't get this prisoner to the Red Keep quickly, you're going to have a lot more problems than a few missing groats.
All right, take it easy. Go ahead. Damn, just when we'd finally gotten some entertainment.
There are so many of them.
You're free now. R'hllor has guided us thus far.
Your god had nothing to do with it, my friend. You just have a gift of convincing people.
Whatever it may be, you owe me now.
Yes, I give you my word. If you ever need me and my men, come to our den. Until then, old man, I must go and dress my wounds now.
So, sir, did you find out what happened to your brother?
Yes. Valar had him executed. Mark my words. I am going to find this murderer and cut him down where he stands.
I'm afraid that's not possible, sir. He left during your investigation with at least 100 men.
Ice and death. This wretched dog knows no limits. He killed my brother, and now he's trying to undermine any hope I have of gaining the Queen's favor. I must speak with Lord Halton immediately.
He awaits you at his residence.
Alistair, were you able to discover anything?
I know what happened. The murderers in the sewers were targeting a boy by the name of Cedric Rivers. His last name leaves no room for doubt. He's a bastard child, just like those the Queen is hunting down. But the assassins also killed whoever else was in the hideout at that time. And that's how Garwin fell victim to them.
How can something this dreadful have been allowed to happen?
He really is dead. His body was moved to the city watchtower. I saw it with my own eyes.
By the father. That poor boy. Sir Desmond told me of the bandits you encountered. Was it they who killed Garwin?
The Reapers did the dirty work. There's no denying that. But they were just pawns. They are now paying for their crimes.
What do you mean?
I coerced some of their members to tell me what happened, and that information led me to the city watchtower. That's where I found Garwin's corpse. But that's not all. The leader of the Reapers, the murderer himself, was locked up there. He confessed everything. The commander of the city watch paid him to carry out the task. Then he left him to rot in the dungeons, so that the crime would never be traced back to him. And here is the proof. Look at this letter. It was Valar himself who gave the assassination order to the commander of the City Watch. He's behind everything.
Are you saying your half-brother murdered Garwin? I do not understand. Why would he do such a thing?
Reading between the lines of this letter, it appears that he acted on behalf of the Queen. Look at what's written here. See that you do not leave any witness. He must have known that Garwin would be with Cedric. Valar was trying to capture my brother after all. This was an ideal opportunity for him. He didn't leave him any chance of clearing his name.
You believe he acted out of revenge?
Obviously. He wants to wipe out the Sarwiks and take control of Riverspring. Valar used this opportunity to get rid of him. One less obstacle in the way of his conquest. He is now assured that he will become head of House Sarwick, being both my sister's husband and my father's only descendant.
What are you planning to do?
Garwin was my brother. I can't just let that bastard Valar destroy my family. He will pay with his blood. I'll never let that wretch take the ancestral lands of House Sarwick. I already have this letter which proves his involvement in the sewer murders. I have to find out what it is that links these murders and expose Valar's treachery. Once the people learn of his treachery, the Queen will have no choice but to sever her ties with him.
You are right. The answer probably lies with the bastards that the Queen is hunting down.
I'm not sure I follow.
Well, if you think about it, isn't that what all these murders have in common? All the victims were bastards. In fact, you helped track one of them down yourself, didn't you?
This bastard child was related to an enemy of the Queen. Both are dead, on her orders.
Indeed. But I think that the hounding of the bastards hides more than a simple plot. After all, why did she have to call on you? If these targets really were enemies of the Crown, why didn't she send the gold cloaks?
Indeed. She chose an inconspicuous method every time.
The Queen does not wish for this matter to be made public.
These bastards are not chosen at random. Valar himself is one, but he's not worried. So there must be some other link between them. But what? I can't put my finger on it.
I might have a lead on this matter. One of my contacts at court passed a letter on to me. It's from Lord Jon Arryn himself, the King's Hand. He sent it to the Red Keep sometime before his death. It was meant for Grand Maester Pycelle, who sits on the Royal Council.
Remind me who the Grand Maester is, please. I have been away for such a long time that I have forgotten the ways of the court a little.
The title is carried by the King's advisor in King's Landing, who also sits on the Small Council. As any Maester, he must carry out all of the functions required by a noble household, such as advisor, tutor, and healer, but for the Seven Kingdoms.
I see. Please continue. You were speaking of Jon Arryn?
He was a worthy man. His death has deeply saddened me. But in the light of the information contained in this letter, I fear that his death is far from natural.
What do you mean? What does this letter speak of?
Well, Jon Arryn asked the Grand Maester to consult a book on the lineages of the Seven Kingdoms. And this came after he was seen in the company of Stannis Baratheon, visiting various dens of ill repute. It caused quite a stir. If you're unfamiliar with these two men, they have long established reputations of unfailing virtue. Normally, neither of them would ever frequent that kind of establishment. After a little investigating, I learned that the Hand had visited half a dozen bastards that day, one of whom was the Potter that you and Sir Valar killed.
You think that because he was walking about town and consulting some tome on lineage, that someone had the Hand of the King assassinated?
Think about it. If Jon Arryn discovered something about those bastards that someone powerful didn't want him to know, I have a feeling that this book on lineages holds the key to this mystery. And I've sent word to a man capable of shedding light on all of that for us. He's a Maester of the Citadel called Rupert. He's also an expert in ancient texts, and it just so happens that he has worked on the book.